Hey, and thanks for joining us for another edition of Smith Center. So, fantasy season is upon us, and it looks like the Socal Fruit League is going to be very competitive this year, aside from one dickhead, Brian Lee. Now, the draft got off to a shaky start after 3 delays, but finally went down on Wednesday without a hitch. Let's take a look at the East and West divisions and see who's going to be the bitch of the league. Let's take a look at the East Division. The Los Angeles Young'uns is led by the youngest player in the league. Finally finishing puberty has proven to not help his draft abilities as he drafted the ridiculous MJD and the point black hole Alex Smith. That's not to say he didn't do some things right, drafting the greatest quarterback of all time, Tom the God Brady. Putting my personal hatred for the team owner of Ray Rice's right hook aside, I still feel he has some bright spots. Beast Mode Lynch will consistently put up huge numbers, and Stafford, by osmosis of having Megatron, will fare well as well. Chris Johnson and Eric Decker won the Get Fucked lottery and will suck under the Jets like all Jets do. Hank's Green Bay Umbrella Kids, with Drew Brees feeling healthy to start this year, will likely put up some serious numbers. Solid 1-2 punch with Gore and Ingram at the back, but a little lacking at the receiver core. Hank's bench looks more like a who's who of an AA meeting with not one, but 2 substance abuse suspendees. Let's take a look at George Wendt, led by John. Now, I'm not a fan of Kaepernick, and always feel he is overrated in fantasy. That doesn't mean he doesn't have big games. Arian Foster is a joke, and trying to turn himself into a stock commodity proved tragic last year. After last year, though, it would seem that just having Megatron could almost single-handedly guarantee you a win each week. Jason's team, What You Got on My Forte Homie, was the only auto draft team this season, and it might have been a blessing in disguise. Adrian Peterson, need I say more, and Bell are points machines. Although he didn't get his forte, he did get Marshall and Cutler to feed that Bears hunger. And to further show the disparity in the NFL's suspension policy, Bo is out for 1 game for substance, while Ray Rice is out for 2 after a substantial right hook to his wife's face. Let's move on over to the West. After getting the first pick in the snake draft, Vic all but threw in the towel. Sitting back as the top 18 players disappear can lead to many poor decisions, like drafting Cam Newton and not wearing a rubber with the stripper while she's using intravenous drugs. When Jamal Charles and AJ Green are your top hopes, it could be a long season. Although I love Yo Mama's Coochie, I don't love Polkad's team. With the loss of Ellington for some time and no solid replacements on the bench, his backs are weak. It's also too early to see if the fragile Gronk can make it a full season again, but if he can, it could be big points for his team. Though I don't speak any other languages, I do believe in Google Translate. Lucho's team, the Dolphins of Miami, could be in as much trouble as their namesake. With one true fantasy superstar, he will have to rely on week-to-week big games from different players. Demarius has the potential to be that big point guy week-to-week, but it remains to be seen after 1 solid season. I don't know Kale, but teams can't hardly wait to play him, as on paper, it looks like an easy win. But paper don't mean shit in fantasy, and guys like Ertz and Tate may be the big play guys for their teams this year, which could translate to big fantasy wins. Will and his Untouchables are the fantasy rookie team in this league, and his 3 first rounds and cocky let's make it a $25 bet showed it. With that said, anything is possible when you have Manning and Graham in your lineup. Will definitely wins the retirement home draft with McFadden, Romo, Wayne, and Bush close to being put down in the back of the stables. Well, that's a rundown of the league. It should be an interesting season, and who knows what can happen when you're dealing with fantasy football. I'm glad you've all decided to play in this league, and I hope you all fucking lose horribly. See you next week.